My girlfriend told me I needed to stop wasting money on my sick mother. She said I needed to focus on her and our future instead. My mom was 6 months into a brutal fight with cancer, and the costs were adding up. My girlfriend, Vanessa, and I were sitting in our apartment, supposed to be having a quiet night in. The hospital had called earlier with a billing question, and I was on the phone with the insurance company for an hour trying to sort it out. When I got off, visibly stressed, Vanessa didn't ask if everything was okay. She just looked at me with an annoyed expression and dropped that line. I didn't yell, I didn't even argue. I just looked at her, and something inside me went cold and quiet. I said nothing. In my mind, our 4-year relationship ended right there on that couch. She took my silence as agreement, or at least submission. She started talking about a trip to Mexico she wanted to take, as if the issue was settled. I just nodded along, but I wasn't really listening. I was already making a plan. To understand how big of a betrayal this was, you need to know about my family. My dad passed away 3 years ago from a sudden heart attack. He left my mother, Carol, financially secure. She's not super rich, but she's comfortable. My older sister, Sarah, and I are the only kids. We're a tight-knit family, even more so after my dad died. Vanessa had been in the picture for about a year when he passed, and my mom took to her immediately. She treated Vanessa like the second daughter she never had. About a year ago, my mom decided to update her estate plan. She sat down with me and Sarah and her lawyer, Mr. Henderson, to go over everything. At the end of the meeting, she surprised us. She said she was adding a special provision to the family will. As long as Vanessa and I were together at the time of her passing, Vanessa would receive a significant bequest, $100,000, tax-free. It was an incredibly generous gesture. Sarah and I were shocked, but Mom insisted. "She makes my son happy, and she's part of this family," she said. Vanessa was ecstatic when I told her. She cried and hugged my mom, calling her her second mother. Looking back, I wonder if that was the moment she started seeing my mother not as a person, but as a bank account. When Mom got sick, our lives turned upside down. The prognosis was serious, but not hopeless. The doctors recommended an aggressive new treatment that wasn't fully covered by her insurance. The out-of-pocket costs were substantial. My mom could handle the bulk of it, but I stepped in to cover the rest, about $5,000 a month for medication and specialized care coordination. It was a strain, but it was my mom. There was no question I would do it. Sarah helped with logistics, driving Mom to appointments and managing her daily care, since she lived closer. Vanessa was supportive for the first month. She'd visit the hospital, bring flowers, and say all the right things. But as the months dragged on, her patience wore thin. The hospital visits stopped. She started making comments about how much time I was spending away from our apartment. She'd complain about the money, subtle at first. "Did you see the price of that new medication? It's criminal," she'd say, shaking her head. I thought it was just her way of showing concern. I was wrong. It was market research. Her statement about wasting money was just the first time she was stupid enough to say the quiet part out loud. A few weeks after that conversation, the first real escalation happened. I was reviewing our joint credit card statement online, and a charge for $3,500 stood out. It was a deposit for an all-inclusive resort in Cancun. I looked at the date. It was made 2 days after she told me to stop funding my mom's care. I felt a surge of cold anger. I waited until she got home from work that night and put my laptop on the kitchen island, the statement displayed on the screen. "What's this?" I asked, keeping my voice level. She glanced at it, and her face lit up, completely oblivious. "Surprise! I figured we both needed a break from all this stress. I booked us a trip for next month. It's non-refundable, so we have to go." The audacity was stunning. "We can't afford this, Vanessa," I said. "And we definitely can't go on vacation right now." She rolled her eyes. "This is exactly what I was talking about. You're letting this whole thing consume you. We could afford it if you weren't throwing all your money away on treatments that might not even work. This is about focusing on us, on our future." She had the gall to frame it as a romantic gesture. I didn't raise my voice. I just closed the laptop. "I'm canceling the trip," I said, "and I'm canceling this credit card." She started yelling, calling me controlling and selfish. I just walked into the home office and made the call. The trip was forfeited, and so was the deposit. I saved a PDF of that credit card statement. It was the first piece of hard evidence. The next time I visited my mom, Sarah was already there. Mom was having a good day. She was sitting up in bed and had a bit of color in her cheeks. She asked about Vanessa, why she hadn't come by. I fed her a weak excuse about Vanessa being busy with work. My mom was sharp. She knew something was wrong, but she didn't push. When I was leaving, Sarah walked me out to the parking lot. "Is everything okay with you and Vanessa?" she asked, her arms crossed. Sarah never beat around the bush. I hesitated, but I knew I could trust her. I told her about Vanessa's comment and about the Cancun trip. Sarah's face hardened. "I knew it," she said, shaking her head. "She called me last week. It was weird. She was asking all these questions about Mom's long-term care insurance and the details of her estate. She tried to make it sound like she was just concerned, but it felt ghoulish." My stomach turned. It was worse than I thought. She wasn't just being selfish, she was actively prospecting. She was trying to figure out how much would be left, I said. Sarah nodded grimly. "We agreed to keep this between us for now, to protect Mom from the stress." Vanessa's campaign moved to a new front, our social circle. She started posting vague, passive-aggressive things on her Instagram stories. Pictures of sad quotes about being taken for granted or fighting battles for people who wouldn't fight for you. A few of our mutual friends reached out to me, asking if we were okay. I just told them we were going through a stressful time. Then her mother called me. I'd always had a good relationship with Vanessa's parents, but this call was different. Her mom, Diane, was using her concerned but disapproving tone. "Vanessa is just so worried about you, Mark," she said. "She feels like you're pulling away, shutting her out. She told us you had a big fight over a little vacation she was trying to plan for you both. She just wants you to have a life outside of all this." It was clear Vanessa had fed her a carefully edited version of the story, painting me as the brooding, distant partner and herself as the caring, long-suffering girlfriend. I didn't take the bait. I was polite but firm. "Diane, with all due respect, it's a complicated situation, and it wasn't the right time for a vacation." I knew then that she was building a narrative, trying to isolate me from my own support system. The proof of her scheming came a few days later. She was in the shower and her phone, which she had started guarding like a state secret, buzzed on the nightstand. I didn't pick it up, but the screen lit up with a notification preview. It was a text from her best friend, Kayla. The message read, "Did you get him to talk about the POA yet? If he has it, you could just..." The rest of the message was cut off, but it was more than enough. Power of attorney. She was looking for a way to get control of my finances, and by extension, my mother's. I grabbed my own phone and took a clear picture of her lock screen, the message preview visible. My hands were shaking, not with rage, but with a strange sense of calm. This was the second piece of evidence. The picture was time-stamped. I knew I couldn't keep this from my mom forever. Not the whole truth, but she needed to be aware. The next time I saw her, she was feeling stronger. We were sitting in her hospital room, the TV on mute. I told her that Vanessa was struggling with the stress of her illness. I told her we had been fighting about money and that Vanessa felt I wasn't paying enough attention to her. I left out the parts about the will and the POA. I didn't want to cause her any undue anxiety. My mom listened patiently, her expression unreadable. She reached out and took my hand. "People show you who they really are when the chips are down, Mark," she said softly. "Your father and I went through some hard times. Sickness, money problems. That's when you learn who you can count on. It's not about grand gestures. It's about who shows up, who holds your hand, who doesn't complain when things get tough." She squeezed my hand. "You have a good heart. Don't let anyone take advantage of it." She didn't need to know the details. She understood. Over the next 2 months, a miracle happened. The aggressive treatment, the one Vanessa called a waste of money, started to work. My mom's energy levels began to rise. The doctors were cautiously optimistic. Then they were openly optimistic. The tumors were shrinking. At her next big scan, we got the news we had been praying for. She was in complete remission. The cancer was gone. We had a small celebration at her house. Just me, Mom, and Sarah. It was emotional and happy. I called Vanessa to tell her the good news. She put on a performance of being overjoyed, but I could hear the calculation in her voice. "That's amazing," she gushed. "Now we can finally get back to normal. Oh, we should rebook that trip to celebrate." I just said, "We'll see," and ended the call. She thought she had won. The money pit was closed, and now she could reap the rewards of her patience. The next morning, my mom called me. Her voice was clear and strong. "Mark, I need to schedule a meeting with Mr. Henderson," she said. "I want to make some changes to my estate plan. I want you and Sarah to be there." My heart hammered in my chest. I knew what was coming. We met at the lawyer's office the following week. It was a bright, sunny day. Mom looked healthier than she had in a year. She was dressed impeccably, her resolve clear. Mr. Henderson greeted us warmly. He had the documents ready. "Carol, you wanted to make an amendment to your will," he said, getting straight to business. "A codicil." He slid the document across the polished mahogany table. My mom signed it without hesitation, with Sarah and the lawyer's paralegal as witnesses. Then Mr. Henderson handed me and Sarah each a folder. "This is a certified copy of the executed codicil for your records," he said. I opened it. It was one page. It was simple and brutal. It read, "I hereby revoke in its entirety Article 4, Section B of my last will and testament, which provided a conditional bequest to Vanessa Miller. All other provisions of my will shall remain in full force and effect." My mom looked at me. "She failed the test," she said, her voice firm, with no trace of malice. "This family is built on love and support, not opportunism. She is not, and never was, family." I felt a profound sense of relief. It wasn't about the money. It was about my mother seeing Vanessa for who she truly was and protecting our family from her. I went home that evening. I had already spent the afternoon moving my clothes and personal items into the spare bedroom. Vanessa came home a little while later, carrying a bottle of expensive champagne. "To your mom's recovery and to our future," she said, trying to kiss me. I turned my head. "We need to talk," I said. I sat her down at the kitchen table. She looked confused, a little annoyed. "What's wrong now? I thought we were past all this." I didn't say a word. I just slid the folder containing the certified codicil across the table. Her brow furrowed as she opened it. I watched her read the single paragraph. I saw the exact moment the words registered. Her face went from confusion to disbelief, then to a dark, ugly rage. Her mask of the sweet, supportive girlfriend disintegrated in an instant. "What is this?" she hissed, her voice trembling. "You can't do this. This is my money. Your mother promised me." I finally spoke. "First, it's not your money, and it never was. It was a gift, conditioned on you being a part of this family. You proved you aren't." She stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "This is your fault. You poisoned her against me. You did this." I said nothing, I replied, my voice calm. "I didn't have to. You did it all yourself. You complained about the cost of her medicine. You tried to book a vacation while she was in the hospital. You asked my sister about her estate. You tried to get power of attorney over me. You showed us exactly who you are. And when my mother made a full recovery, she wrote you out of the family will. Her focus was on getting better. Now her focus is on her family." Her focus shifted very quickly then. The rage dissolved into frantic, panicked tears. It wasn't sadness. It was the terror of a gambler who had just lost a sure bet. She started pleading. She was sorry. She was just stressed. She loved me. She loved my mom. She could fix this. She would call my mom and apologize. "Don't," I said. "She doesn't want to hear from you. Neither does Sarah, and neither do I. I want you to pack your things and be out of here by the end of the week." The next few days were a blur of her desperate attempts. Texts, voicemails, emails, all professing her undying love and regret. It was all noise. She was gone by Friday. The apartment was quiet. I spent the weekend deep cleaning the place, purging every trace of her. On Sunday evening, I sat on the couch, the same one where it had all started. The silence was perfect. I called my mom just to hear her voice. She sounded happy. We were all going to be okay.